Moonlight, in the sky, you say, popcorn, moonlight, in the sky, you say, popcorn.
In life, we'll always lose our way, but as people, not signs, they guide us to the right path. This is a very quotable episode, episode 4, season 3, Cobra Kai, The Right Path. I'm Juju Talk Sports. This is C Money Reacts. Tell me, what are some favorite scenes you have from this episode? A lot of good ones in here.
Oh yeah, a lot of good ones. I love it when Daniel goes to Japan, and then of course, the first scene, Daniel pretty much gets rejected by the company that the dude in the last episode pretty much took away from them for manufacturing parts. I like that scene because it shows that Daniel doesn't always get his way. He doesn't always like get the victory that he wants. But from there, he talks to the bartender, which that's a very good scene because Daniel looks at the picture of the village, and the man asks him, "Oh, like what are you looking at?" And he says, "Oh, I used to have an old friend." And he asks, "Oh, well, how's your old friend?" And he said, "Well, he's not with us anymore." He said, "Well, that's the American way of thinking. Here you can still talk to them," which that's like that. I thought that was pretty awesome. I think it's really cool that the Japanese culture is like that. It's very spiritual.
And it sends him on the path to Tomi Village. So I will admit, on this channel, I did not watch Karate Kid 2, but they go to Tomi Village, and then we get introduced to one of the best characters in Cobra Kai, the Jersey Mike's girl. This lady is so excited about Jersey Mike's coming to Tomi Village. And I got to say, as someone who has partaked in more than enough Jersey Mike's sandwiches, I agree with you. Way better than Subway. Way better than Subway. But on the real, the actual character we get introduced to or reintroduced to in this reality is Kimiko. So the love interest from the Karate Kid 2. Daniel and her have a lot of great moments. This is where we get a lot of callbacks to Mr. Miyagi from meeting her. But I do wonder, did Daniel have to disclose to Amanda that he saw a old ex in Japan, in another country? I feel like that might be an important detail in a marriage.
Yeah, that actually would be. And I'm pretty sure Amanda wouldn't be too mad because, I mean, let's face it, Daniel's in love with Amanda. Like, I wouldn't suspect Daniel doing anything, but yeah, he would have to tell her. But then also, don't get mad. I've never tried Jersey Mike's.
You never tried Jersey Mike? Well, I've never watched Karate Kid 2. You didn't try Jersey Mike's. We all have our shortcomings. Yeah, no. Kimiko, Daniel, they have some of the best scenes in not only this season, not only this episode, but in the entire series. And in particular, when they're reading Mr. Miyagi's old letters, where I got the quote from that started this episode, I think that those are one that really just tug at the heartstrings. And I think the things in Japan are the best parts of this episode.
Oh yeah, definitely. And of course, we have the whole backstory with Johnny and Robby. Robby's having a rough time, but yeah, the parts in Japan completely overshadow what's going on in America. Those were great parts. Kimiko as a character is pretty cool. She's very cheery and she just loves to go with the flow. And obviously she loves to teach, which is, I like that character a lot.
Let's spark this debate. Ellie or Kimiko? Go. Better love interest. Amanda's just watching, like, pissed off at this conversation.
I don't know. Kimiko is pretty cool. I think Kimiko, because Chosen didn't really love Kimiko like Johnny did with Ali. So honestly, I think Kimiko would be a better love interest because Daniel doesn't have to go through the obstacle of another dude falling in love with this woman.
Yes, but he does have to fight people to the death. We'll get to that.
Oh,
anyway,
yeah.
Let's go back to America. Let's talk about what's going on in the good old US of A. Johnny and Robby, of course, they have their issues between father and son constantly, and it can all be resolved if Robby did just one thing: let people finish sentences. He always seems to cut people off right before they have this big revelation or before they're allowed to apologize or anything. I think Robby's life would be a lot better if he just let people finish sentences. Anyway, they're in the soup kitchen. Johnny's getting some soup gets dropped. The prison bullies see him and they decide, oh, your dad doesn't love you. Ha ha ha. And that's a big thing for Robby. Again, Robby, what more do we have to say about this kid?
Yeah, Robby, that dude just bothers me. He's my least liked character throughout this whole show. I actually prefer the homeless lady from the first season. I prefer her over Robby.
We get reintroduced to her too. In season 3, a lot of characters that we didn't see in season 2 actually made a comeback. If you really think about it, obviously we get the homeless lady, we get Tom Cole, we get Louie. I wonder what happened in season 2. I wonder what happens. I gotta look up some behind the scenes stuff on that.
And then it's so funny with the homeless lady because you think she's flirting with Johnny, but she's not. She just wants his bowl of soup.
Just wants her soup. I can respect the hustle. Okay. Well, let's see. Other storylines. So back at the high school, Sam, the Cobra Kai kids, they're getting into it. Miyagi-Do, Cobra Kai. It's still an ongoing thing. But one thing that should not be changed. They got to fire that Counselor Blatt woman. Like, how do you look at Hawk and just think, oh, yeah, this is the innocent party. This is the innocent bystander here.
Yeah, obviously she ain't paying attention to anything. I think she's like the worst counselor I've ever seen. Like
in a movie, in a TV show, yeah, it has to be one of the worst counselors I've ever seen. And I've seen 13 Reasons Why.
Yeah, yes, exactly. That counselor is better than this counselor. Like, oh my God. Yeah. And then I just love how in this show they keep making fun of the whole PC culture. I think the safe space term is it just makes me roll my eyes.
Well, they're making fun of it. I think they're very tongue-in-cheek about it. But even
so, they are making fun
Counselor
of it.
Blatt's character is just so ridiculous. And I just think that there has to be some basis in reality. And if there was a school administrator that acted like her, then she would be fired instantly. At least I hope so.
Students would get away with everything. Imagine all the stuff they would get away with.
They had a riot in this school last year and she kept her job. I think that says it all, people.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Moving forward, moving throughout it. Obviously, Johnny's a little bit upset. And what does Johnny do when he gets upset? He drowns himself in Coors Banquet. He goes to the bar, and that's where he has a moment with Cris. Now, Cris actually surprises people because he wants Johnny back. It's a scene that kind of comes out of nowhere, but in that, Cris says, "You will always be my student." So it shows that Cris does have some sort of consideration, some love for Johnny, but Cris isn't as soft as a Mr. Miyagi. He's a very hard-nosed war veteran, as we learned throughout this season, and I think that has put him often at odds with how Johnny wanted to go in season 2 with the mercy as opposed to the no mercy, and that's where they had their disputes. And it leads Johnny to get a little bit motivated because when Cris says, yeah, when Miguel gets healthy, we'll get him back. That's when he gets motivated to go to the hospital, run in and say, Miguel, we're getting you right. And he echoes Cris's words in that scene, I will always be your teacher. Add that to what we've seen with Daniel still learning from Mr. Miyagi, even post-mortem. And I will always be your teacher is something that's very symbolic between the sensei student dynamic in this episode.
Yeah, I honestly, that's what makes this episode so great. Just that, and then everything with Mr. Miyagi. Mr. Miyagi is still, like you said, still teaching Daniel lessons while he's gone. It's really cool, and it exactly follows what that guy said. That's the American way is you can't communicate with them, but here you can still talk to them. It's pretty awesome.
Well, another good quote before we head out here: put good out in the world and good will always come back to you. I just wanted to repeat that because it's a very good lesson that we all can learn as we move forward as friends, brothers, allies, all that good stuff. But we got to put a rating on this. So we got to put some good out there into the world with our rating on this episode. And I'm going to say this one's a home run for me. And if you take out the American scenes, I think it would be even more perfect, to be honest. If I could have just spent the entire episode in Japan, I would have been even happier with this episode. But the moments reading Mr. Miyagi's letters alone just did it for me. I just love this episode because of those moments. we'll even say I love because of Johnny coming back into that room and motivating Miguel. I think those in combination with each other are just two awesome scenes, and they make this one of the better episodes of the show.
I just wish we could do a 4.5. It's a 4.5 in my opinion, but based on our rating system, I'm going to give it a 4. It's just Robby for me, man. Like Robby just does it for me. It's just
so you're saying if we axe Robby from the show, then Cobra Kai is a perfect series. Actually, I wouldn't even mind. I know there's a duality between Johnny, Robby, Miguel, Robby, and Daniel. But honestly, I will make the case that I think Robby could get cut. But that's neither here nor there. Let us know in the comments what you think of this dynamic. Let us know, Kimiko, Allie, drop it in the comments below. I want to hear this debate. Leave a like on this video. And to all our subscribers, arigato. We'll see you next time.